I'm Barry from the Next Adventure Show channel in the beautiful Corryla National Park in New South Wales in the Border Ranges. Here for the Camp Pillow Shootout, testing these, and I'll let you know the results right after this. All right, here I am in Corryla National Park in New South Wales. Spent the night here last night. It's a beautiful little spot. Looks like it might rain, so I need to get through this video and get the tent packed up before it does. Got the Trangia in effect for a bit of coffee this morning to warm up. And I'm out here testing some pillows. Thought I'd do a video about camp pillows and do a little bit of a shootout at different price pillows from the bottom of the range kind of to near the top of the range. So in the contest today, we have the Nature Hike Aeros pillow, which I got on Amazon for a grand total of $16 Australian. In the middle spot, we've got the Trekology Luft 2 pillow, which I got on eBay for $26. And then here at the top of the line, we've got the Nemo Philo, which I got on one of the camping sites around here in Australia for about $65 Australian. So, something at each budget point, and let's see if it actually makes a difference. So, this one has been my go-to pillow for a little while, but I thought I would see if there's really all that much difference between the top and some of the budget offerings that you can pick up for a few less dollars. So I've tested all these pillows and slept with all these pillows, and I'm going to tell you about their features, and then we're going to tell you which one I'm going to take on my next trip. So, we'll talk about the Nature Hike and the Trekology together because the build and the features are pretty similar. If you're not familiar with Nature Hike, they're a Chinese company that makes a lot of camping equipment. And most of the camping equipment, let's be honest, is a bit of a knockoff of somebody else's thing. That doesn't mean they're bad quality. Some of their tents are really good. Check out Trev on Summit or Nothing if you want to look at tent reviews. It's a good channel for that. But Nature Hike usually copies other people's stuff, and it's a decent build quality. And I'm pretty sure what they were copying was the Trekology. So how does the copy hold up to the original? Well, they're both of a similar construction. You know, they've got the plastic inflatable with baffles, and they have a very similar valve here, which is a bit of a click valve. So you click it once and it's kind of open and you can breathe into it, you can blow it up, but the air doesn't come rushing back out. So you can continue to blow it up without worrying about whether it's going to deflate. And then you click that button a second time and that pushes the valve in and lets you collapse and deflate the pillow. So both the Nature Hike and the Trekology have a very similar, if not exactly the same, inflation double clicky valve. The Nature Hike, you know, is kind of this coated rubber material. I'll put the actual build materials down in the description below. A little bit softer, you know, on the top. The Trekology one feels a little bit better. I don't know if it's different per se, but it actually feels a bit nicer. And the main difference between this one, the $16 Nature Hike, and the $26 Trekology pillow, let's talk about the differences there. One is the shape. You can see the shapes are a little bit different. The Nature Hike one's got the cutout on both the top and the bottom, so if you're a side sleeper, you can get your shoulder up under the pillow there. And the Trekology one basically just has the one cutout, and then it's curved at the top. So probably maybe a better design. I don't know why you would need to cut out on both sides. If you're a side sleeper, I sleep a lot on my side. It's nice to be able to put your shoulder up into there, and you really only need it on one side. The real main difference between the Nature Hike and the Trekology is on the back. So on the back of the Trekology Luft 2, now there's an Luft 1 that doesn't have this, but the Luft 2 has these little non-slip beads on it so that you can put it down on your sleeping mat and it won't slide around as much. But the other cool thing is they've got this strap here which can go around your sleeping mat so that it actually holds it to your sleeping mat so that it doesn't slide around. and it keeps the pillow in place. Last night, that's exactly what I did. I put that around the back of my sleeping mat. Beautiful cutaway here. And what I found is, yep, it certainly does keep it in place. But I found myself sliding down. So I would kind of, slide down on the sleeping mat a little bit and then I'd move myself back up to where the pillow is. So I don't necessarily know if that's better to have it in one spot, or whether, if you're going to move around, slide around on your sleeping mat, whether you want to be able to pull the pillow down with you or whatever. So they both come with a little stuff sack, and I'll put these all into stuff sacks in a second so you can see kind of what the comparable size is. The weight difference is negligible. This one's a little bit lighter. I'll put the actual weight down below in the description as well. But, it's sub 100 grams, both of them. So very light, very capable. They both have the bladder systems in there, or the baffling systems in there, so that, the air doesn't move around too much inside the pillow and you get the catapult effect from one side or the other. One of the other main differences between the two that I found last night was the noise. This is a noisier pillow. So when you are kind of sleeping on it, or when you're moving around on it, it's noisy. It's kind of like a balloon. It's a lot of that balloon noise. You can kind of hear it there. You don't quite get it as much on the Trekology one as well. But what I typically do with these pillows too is I'll just put a buff over the top of them. One, to keep my dirty head off of them, but two, to make it a little bit nicer tactile experience on the pillow. So I just slide a buff over the top of the pillow. Makes it a bit nicer surface to sleep on, number one. Number two, makes it easier to wash. Just chuck this in the wash when you get home. And then I actually put my little beanie on top of here last night as well, and I swear it felt like a normal pillow. It was really good. So between the two, I would definitely go with the Trekology. Spend a few extra bucks. It's a more comfortable, less noisy pillow. I found this a bit more comfortable. You can see that the Nature Hike's got quite a big kind of indentation, or bigger indentation in it, which kind of gives you less usable pillow space in the middle. The Trekology doesn't have such a huge kind of disparity between the edges in the middle, so you kind of get more of an area to put your head there, and it's not as noisy when you're rolling around on it either. So between these two, if you take into account the noise, the ergonomics of the pillow, the fact that it's got the non-stick and the strap on it, I'm going to have to give, between these two, I'm going to have to give it to the Trekology. So Nature Hike, you're gone. Now let's talk about the Nemo Philo. So the Nemo Philo is an inflatable as well. It's got a bladder in here, an air bladder in here as well. But that air bladder is wrapped in foam. So it's got a foam on it that feels more like a pillow you might use at home. The air valve's here on the side rather than the back. And it is a kind of a pull-up. It's got a twist and a pull-up to let the air out or to inflate it. And then you lock it in place there. It's kind of out of the way, so you never really notice it, which is cool. It's got an integrated stuff sack, which kind of tucks right into the pillow as well, so you're never going to lose the stuff sack, whereas the other two have a separate stuff sack, which might be easier to lose. This whole pillowcase lining comes off, and you can wash it when it gets all dirty and grubby as well, and it feels much more like a normal pillow. What I did find last night, though, is one, it's a bit smaller. As you can see, the surface area is a bit smaller. And the way that this is shaped, it's more kind of a rounded shape, so that your head sits here and tends to want to roll off to the side, or the pillow wants to tend to kind of slide out to the side as well. Now you can deflate it a little bit to give you a bit more, a bit less buoyancy with the air, so to speak. But I've been using this pillow for months and months and months. And I really thought that this was going to just crap all over the other pillows. But what I actually found was, you know, with the buff and maybe my beanie or a shirt on top of this. This is just as nice and just as foamy as this thing. And I found this actually a more comfortable experience. So between $26 and $66, is there that much of a difference that if I was buying these again that I would want to go with this one? Probably not. Like, this one is a little bit small, as I said, where this one's a bit bigger. Nemo does make a bigger one, which I wouldn't mind trying out. Nemo, if you see this, by the way, why don't you send me one and I'll do a review. But it's more expensive still. It's like $75 or something like that. So bottom line, the one I'm going to take on my next trip, the Trekology. A Trekology pillow is comfortable. It's got the strap on the back so it stays put. With something over the top of it, it's just as comfortable as the Nemo. And for $40 less, I'd say go with the Trekology. I'll have links to all the descriptions down below if you want to find out more about the products. Here's all the pillows in their stuff sacks. This is the Nature Hike Aeros pillow. This is the Trekology Aloft 2. And this is the Nemo Philo. As you can see, once again, the Nature Hike and the Trekology, very, very similar. I would say the Trekology maybe packs down just a tad smaller and a tad more compact, but you can see it doesn't really make a difference. And then you want to compare that to the Nemo Philo. Almost twice as big, I would say, because the foam doesn't kind of compress as much. So again, not a big, but if you're going for space on the bike and you're trying to travel light, once again, the Trekology probably wins out against the others. Thanks for watching. If you found this information useful, hit subscribe and like, and I'll see you on the next adventure.